But right now they forgot they were professionals. I think they forgot they're in the NFL, but they're not high school kids anymore. So you can't play like high school kids and win. You got to play like you've done it before. It's not my first rodeo right here, you know. I've been riding rodeos for years, you know. That's what you got to play like. I've done this. This is what I get paid for. I'm a professional. I mean, I'd hate to call a professional plumber to my house, and he's looking, what am I supposed to work on here? Your lights? I thought you were a plumber, a professional plumber. You know what to work on. I wouldn't want that plumber working on my plumbing, you know what I'm saying? And that's in any profession. But we find that in every profession that if everybody's doing their job like they're supposed to, they got that gift, man, it'll work. They'll get the job done. And the church will work also the same way. But if somebody lets up, if somebody's not pulling their weight, and then it really gets hard on someone else. So he's telling us that we're waiting on we do our service and waiting on our servicing, who we would service to, on our serving, or our ministering, and that's what he said, or teaches, on teaching, you know. So all those things, we wait till that teaching spot comes available, or it's our opportunity, and then our gift kicks in, and we can teach. And that's the way church runs. That's the way it works. Everybody needs to be part of the church. Everybody needs to join the church. Everybody needs to function in that church in order to make that church run right. So we have a lot of, you know, parts of the body that are sitting around that are not even members. You know, they could be doing a lot of good things, a lot of talented people, but they're not even members. They don't even think about getting involved or doing anything or anything like that. And that's what we think a lot of times about big churches. They got more than they need. They should send us some. You think? I mean, this guy's running 1,000, and how many plumbers do you think he's got? You know, send some of those plumbers to the church. Don't have a plumber. And then how many electricians does he have in that church? Send some of them down there, you know, and concrete workers and carpenters and heating and air conditioning people, you know, and people just makes things run. And then how many good teachers that he might have in there? Lawyers. You need legal advice too. It's nice to have a lawyer in a church, you know, somebody for legal advice and someone you can go to for any kind of that kind of advice or get something done. So we wait on those, and those opportunities open, we get involved, and those are good things. But I think sometimes, you know, that there might be a sense of selfishness in some bigger churches that we don't want to give up this because it's going to cost us something. Maybe we don't need this guy to work on our plumbing, but we like his offering. You know, we want him to be part of the church. We don't want to lose that part of that church. And I said, well, I can see you wouldn't want to lose it. I wouldn't either, but we're all one body, folks. We're all one body. You know, we're supposed to be doing that, but you don't see it. One thing about the Missionary Baptist Church, the old Missionary Baptist Church, when they got to 100 people in their church, they started a new church. They'd go down the street somewhere, you know, on the other side of town, take 20 people out of the church and start another church there. And I think that's what it's supposed to be, you know. You're not supposed to build mega churches. I think you're supposed to build multiples and put them on every street corner. And you got a local church here, a local church there, a local church there, a local church there. And all of them should be big enough. You know, the 100 is that good mark because when Jesus said he had 100 sheep and one of them went astray, he left those 99 and went and got that one. But he wanted to keep that at 100. And that's the mark, you know. You get around that 100, then the church can be self-efficient, and it can take care of a pastor, and it can take care of its own responsibilities and all those things, and run efficiently. But I think we get carried away with, I don't know. I don't want to say it because I got a lot of good friends that have big churches. I don't want to say anything that make them think I would be talking about them or anyway like that. But they could help a lot of people. It could help a lot of people in a lot of ways. A lot of churches too. In In verse number 8 it says, or he exhorteth, the exhortation. So here we say that there are people that are in the church that are just good exhorters. And that exhorter is a Greek word, parakele, and exhortation is parakelis, parakosis, well, I guess it's pronounced. Sometimes these Greek words are not pronounced like they're written, but I think this is pronounced parakosis, but it's written like it's parakelis, but it's parakosis really, I think. And it's the same word kind of like you get the Holy Spirit from, if you remember in John's gospel, at least in John's writings, I know about 5 times in John's writings he uses the Greek word paraclete. Now everybody probably knows what the paraclete is. That's the Holy Spirit or the comforter that come alongside of us, and that's what this para here on the beginning of this word of exhorting points to. It's come alongside. It's a comforter. It's an exhorter is someone that comes alongside and gives you that boost you need, gives you that little lift, and they're there for you for whatever you may need, and they will encourage you and help you and do whatever it takes, console you, urge you, appeal to you, exhort you, and whatever it may take in order to get you moving or to help you. So all that describes the counseling process of an exhorter. They do all that. I mean, the movie Sheffy, first time I ever seen it, and he went into this church. He didn't know what to do in the ministry, and the pastor asked him, he said, well, what are you? Are you a pastor or evangelist? He said, no, I'm none of that, he said, well, what are you? Do you exhort people? He said, that's it, I'm an exhorter. He said, I exhort people, and he found out that's what he was. He'd help people. He'd go in them churches. He'd get people fired up. He'd witness to people. He'd do all those things, And in that movie, actually, there's a woman that comes to see him in the camp meeting through that movie, all the time to watch him, but she never comes in. But she wants to hear what he says and all those things, but, she's a woman of the night and kind of things. She don't think she's fitting to be there, but old Sheffy, I think he finally leads her to the Lord. And he's an exhorter, see. He knows what it takes, and he goes alongside of her. He's not better than she is, and he don't look down on her. He gets with her at her level, and he talks to her about the Lord. Condensates to those of lower state. So he becomes an exhorter. Now, love is the big word in the Bible because, the Apostle Paul, when he was addressing the gifts at the church of Corinth, he says, yeah, all those gifts are wonderful. And I know everybody's coveting all them great gifts like languages. And he says, but I'm going to tell you what the best gift. There's 3 gifts, and the greatest of these is charity, which is agape or love. And he says, yeah, these 3, they abide right now. So anybody, faith, hope, and charity, and the greatest of these is charity, and that's love. The greatest thing you could have, the greatest gift God can give you is a heart of love, where you learn to love people. I've had people tell me, because, I tell people I love them a lot, because I do. It's the love of the Lord. It's a brotherly love. It's Philadelphia love. And they said, you can't love me, you don't know me. I said, I don't have to know you to love you. I've already made up my mind to love you. It's just like I had my wife and I when we got married. I didn't know everything about her. I just made up my mind I was going to love her. And we loved her, for 50 years now. That's it was a commitment that I made in my life. That's what I was going to do, love my wife. And that's what you're supposed to do. Does that mean your life's going to be perfect? No. Does that mean you're never going to have disagreements? Are you kidding me? You've been married? But I still love her, you know what I'm saying? I've only heard one guy in my life, he told me, a guy I used to work with, He said him and his wife never had an argument. Now I said, buddy, let me follow you around. I'm going to see if she's deaf or something's going on here because I know better. You're not telling me the truth here. You can't be telling me the truth. But it happens, you know. You're going to have disagreements. You're different people. Things are going to happen. That doesn't mean you don't love one another. I have disagreements with my puppy, but I love him to death. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I mean, nah, don't do that. No. Get on that paper, boy. You know, and scare him to death if I said that. But I love that little guy to death. And my kids the same way. I have to discipline them sometimes when they were little, you know. And I threatened their life with a paddle. All those things, but did that mean I don't love them? No, that means I do love them. That's why I'm willing to correct them. I want them to be the best. I want them to be the best in life, not the worst. So love becomes a great big word in the Bible. So love and many other duties are required of us, folks. The Bible doesn't tell you this is what you should do. He tells you to love your brothers. Love your brothers and sisters in Christ. That's a command. He says this. He says, love the Lord thy God with all your faculties. That's your mind, strength, everything you got, your soul. Just love him with everything. And then love your neighbor as yourself. How you love your neighbor? He's so mean and grumpy. Love him. That's what God said to do. He said, love him. You love him. And so you love your neighbor by helping them, by making their life easier, by not giving them any trouble. You do whatever is necessary, and you be a friend to them. If they need your help, you're there. You love your neighbors. And sometimes your neighbors might not be the guy next to you or the people next to you. It might be someone, different city, different community. Doesn't make any difference. You love them too. So when the Lord said, they asked him, who's my neighbor? He told the story of the Good Samaritan. Who was a neighbor to him? Well, of course, it was the Samaritan that stopped and helped him. Who was a neighbor to him. You become a neighbor to anybody you're willing to help. And that's how you become their neighbor, their friend. That's how you show your love. So in verse number 9, then we get on that topic of love. It says, let love be without dissimulation. So we see another word there, dissimulation. And of course, that has to do with, say, an actor or let's say a hypocrite. Somebody pretending to be something they're not. So don't pretend like you're doing this, but really do it. Don't let your love be without dissimulation or being something that's false or fake. Your love needs to be sincere. It needs to be unframed. It needs to be godly love. And then so it tells you, it warns you to do that. And it's telling you to adhere firmly and closely and loyally and don't waver. So that's what it means to cleave to something. You adhere to it, and you adhere to it firmly and closely and loyally. When you cleave to the Lord, or you cleave to your wife, or you cleave to your husband, when you're cleaving to one another, you're adhering to them very, very loyally and very, very closely. And the church relationship's the same way. We're very, very close in the church. We're very, very loyal to one another. Our job is not to see who we can slander the most or who we can hurt the best. Who are we going to get this week, folks? Well, somebody tell me a good story I can preach on it Sunday. Get a big gospel gossip ring going. Is there love in that? I don't think so. We're supposed to love them enough. We don't do that. What we do is we help them. It tells us to abhor that which is evil. Abhor that which is evil. So that, to regard her with disgust or hatred, basically. So you regard evil as an awful, hateful, ugly thing. You abhor it. You stay away from it. Don't involve yourself in it and don't even think about it. You think about it long enough, you might do it. Just stay away from it. And so love helps you get by that also. But then when it comes to the good part, it tells us to cleave to that which is good. So we hate the evil part, and we're disgusted with that, and we don't want nothing to do with the evil, but we do want the good. And we want to see the good out of everybody, and we want to help everybody be good or be on that right path. And so that's our job as the church. The church, that's what they used to call Christians, do-gooders, because we wanted to do good. You bunch of do-gooders, that's all you are. Yeah, you want to walk them, the old ladies across the street and all that stuff. Now I'm looking for somebody to walk me across the street, you know what I'm saying? Hey, anybody out there a do-gooder? One of you do-gooders help me across the street here today. So we want to cling to that. When we talk about dissimulation, let love be without dissimulation, unframed, undisguised, and sincere. When you got that kind of love, you're gonna avoid a lot of problems in your life. A lot of problems. Your life somehow it takes a different turn. It's really not about you as much as it is about someone else. And when you find out that you're living your life to make them happy, you can take a lot. You just bear it. And so I would rather, that you come and let me have it, and don't let them next to you have it. Because I'm not sure they can handle it, but I am pretty sure I can. So you can nail on me, and I could probably handle it because I got big shoulders, and I've handled a lot over the years. I've got used to it. So I've kind of got my armor on. But I'm not sure what it's going to do to that person next to you. They may not be as armored as I am. So if you got a beef with them, unload on me if you have to unload. And I'll handle it. I'll take care of it. And I'll just love you back. I'll love you back for it. And you'll say, you love me for, man. I'm letting you have it. I said, I know, but love overcomes a lot of that stuff. Don't worry about that. That's why in verse number 10 it tells us this. It tells us to be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love. There's another love you find in the Bible. Just in this text right here, there's several different loves here. I know in verse number 9 you got let love, that's agape love there, I'm pretty sure. And then down here, when we get to verse number 10, when it talks about kindly affection, that's another love. That's Sturgy. Sturgy love. That's another Greek word. That's a love that, if I'm not mistaken, that's a love where you show affection one to another, like relatives and that. You know how the little grandkids come and jump on you, and you just got to love them up, love them to death. That's Sturgy. That's that affectionate type thing. Another one here, if you notice, it says, "And a kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love." There's another love. That was Philadelphia. And by the way, if I'm not mistaken, this back here, this affectionate, kindly affectionate, this is Philia Sturgy. In other words, it's got Philadelphia or brotherly love in it. It's plus the affection, kindly affection, Philia Sturgy. So Philia Sturgis is another brotherly type affectionate love that we have one to another. And then Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, that's brotherly love. That's how we love one another in church. That's how we love our friends. That's how we, when you got your best friend there, like someone you hung out with all the time, there's nothing you would do for them. I mean, you'd go to jail for them if that's what it came down to, because I know, I was a kid once, and we used to do that. I'll take the blunt, guys. I won't say anything. So we have affectionate support and a sense of equality. Philia is usually translated as friendship or affection. Philia. Sturge, empathy or bond. You have empathy for someone. It's a soft, loving type kindness. When we look at these loves, we find another Greek word is eros. Eros is where they get the word exotic. It's a different kind of love. It's romantic love. Maybe we can even say that you can find sexual love in that one. Sexual love. But now, Plato, he was talking about a love too. I don't have that love in here, but I think it's Pergma. Maybe it's Pergma or Pergus. But that's where we got the term platonic love. Platonic love. And he says that's the greatest kind of love. That Greek word between people. The platonic love, which comes from that word Pergama. Pergama, I think. But now in God's book, the greatest love is agape. And agape love is unconditional love. It's love you just demonstrate no matter what the party you're demonstrating to is doing to you. Sometimes it's not easy to love people. You ever try to love a dog that's biting you? You want to kick its teeth out, but no, no, calm down. You got to love them. And after a while, the dog quits biting, he starts licking your hand. Love overcomes a lot. And if you got a dog, he's taught you that. He's already taught you that stuff. That's why God gave him to you. He's your greatest teacher if you'll watch him. He'll teach you all kinds of stuff about your relationship with God. And you just put yourself like you're the master, like God is yours, and that he's trying to communicate with you like you are with God. And your ways are so much above his ways that he can understand some things. He don't understand everything. But there's one language you both understand. It's called love. You love that little fella, and he'll love you back like, my goodness, like you never been loved before. My guy, he likes to get up in the morning. Every morning he gives me a hug and a kiss. Little guy does. He'll jump my chair, and I said, "Did you forget Daddy's hug?" He lays his little head on my face, and then I said, "What about Daddy's kiss?" And he turns around, he starts kissing Daddy. But that's unconditional love, because I could scold him. I told, Nancy and I were going somewhere, and he couldn't go with us. He loves to go with us no matter where we're going. He wants to go. He likes to ride in the car. And sometimes we can't take him because we both got to go in somewhere. So we say, "Jake, you can't go right now, but we'll bring you back something. We'll bring you a little treat. You sit here and watch over the house. Take care, and we'll be right back." And so I got through giving a big speech and spilling. I said, "Now, if the little girls come down, you can let them in. You know, and they'll play with you and that gives him some encouragement that they might show up." But I got that big spill out, and I said, "But you're not going to be able to go." So I went to the door, and as soon as I opened that door, here come that little fella making a beeline for that door. And I scolded him. "Jake, what did I just tell you?" Boy, he stopped in his tracks. He tucked that tail in, started walking back. Now, I felt bad about that, but you know what? When I got back, Jake did what? He was licking my hand. Unconditional love. He wasn't mad at me. No, he knew Daddy meant something. He doesn't understand everything Daddy says, but he knows that I meant something, and it was important, or I wouldn't have raised my voice. That's what he knows. And so he gives me kisses and makes up. He's like saying, I'm sorry, I ran for the door. I said, I know you are, babe. I got a big treat for you, man. Because I know you're a good boy. So when we look here about this, when we're affectionate, basically, our affections are toward our family, brotherly love toward one another in the church, agape love toward God in us and between one another also. And that sturgy, basically, that sturgy is probably a good one for a husband and wife's relationship. You know, husband and wife's relationship is not always lovey-dovey, kissy-kissy, or things like that. Sometimes it's just that we're hanging out together. We run around together. Sometimes we even talk. But I always tell her, call me when I ain't busy. So we do those kind of things, you see. And it's not always a lovey-dovey and those things, but there are affectionate love, like let's go do this or go get an ice cream or go to the park and sit a few minutes or something of that nature. Or let's go out back and sit. But just to sit and talk or whatever we want to do, maybe complain about somebody, I don't know, start a good rumor or something. But we're going to have to stop here, ain't we? We're going to stop right here. So we show kindness or tenderness. We can be happy and affectionate like a family is. And the Bible tells us to be affectionate with brotherly love. With brotherly love. Any questions? Anything else? But discussion? Something I can preach on Sunday, I'll do it. Anybody had a good fight? Nothing. What a bunch, man. You guys like angels. Good night. I said, I need my crew ahead in Addison back. Oh, I had a knife fight last night. Guy cut me 3. Okay, good, yeah. Last night, didn't we? Last night, about turned that thing off 4 times. Yeah, trying to watch that stupid. Well, Trump, he really wasn't on. There's a lot of things Trump could have said he didn't say, and they sure wasn't helping him any. I mean, the commentators wasn't bringing up subjects, strong points that Trump have. You know, they were just staying away from anything that might hurt Kamala. You know, that kind of thing. So Trump just kind of, he answered, he did good in those things, answering, but he really didn't bring out his strengths and the things that he's really good at when he was president.